Well, without, offering the chicken at the one store, you still
Sure.
had a great exit with your gas
Yeah.
station portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And then that exit, I would imagine, was to one group.
No, it was multiple. We had
Okay.
multiple buyers. We sold off sites. We sold them off in pieces. Other than sites that were like within a half mile of each other or a mile, we were like, okay, this doesn't make sense for us to sell it to one person here and one person there, right? So those we did sell as bundle sites, and yeah, we got some good groups to buy them, take them over, and they leased them from us first before they bought the properties from us, and they would lease them, see if it was something that they wanted to further invest in, and yeah, I mean, it worked out. They ended up buying all those properties from us, and yeah, we took that money and on that exit and expanded our real estate holdings on the other side. So
And your real estate company is fully self-funded, so I would
Yeah.
imagine that was a big step forward to be able to exit the gas station business
Yeah.
completely and then go full-time into real estate development or
Yeah.
expand in real estate development. So you go to strip centers,
Mm-hmm.
and then from strip centers, you move to other asset classes. Is that kind of how it works for you?
yeah. So we've done some industrial. I've done one hotel, and I don't know why, but the hotel industry just never appealed to me. And I mean, I know a lot of guys that are incredibly successful in that industry and have done great things, but dealing with franchises and their brand standards and requirements and stuff like that just never. The numbers just didn't work for me because it was kind of like banking, like where I was like, I could take this money and build 5 centers and make 10 times the return. I've always felt like the amount of capital that it takes to have a successful hotel operation, I can put that capital somewhere else and make a better return. I feel a better return on it, and I mean, like I said, I've known a lot of guys that have done great things in the hotel business. I have family members that are in the hotel business, and they love it. It's unlike anything that they've ever done before with the gas stations and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just not for me. That was actually another big lesson that I learned, that it's okay to say this is not for me. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? I mean, do something different. Like, it's okay. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, go back to what you know, selling chicken. So yeah.
So for yourself, like, if I'm understanding correctly, Singh Development is not a company that I'm going to call if I want to build a hotel. You're doing projects that you're spearheading, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So you call us if you want to buy a gas station, the gas station that we're going to build. Now, with the changing dynamics in our economy, with rates being where they're at, we are more open to selling off sites before we develop them. We'll pick up a site, we'll get the permitting done and everything like that. And if we come across a developer that says, hey, I would like to build that, like, let me go ahead and acquire the site from you. I mean, yeah, we'll definitely take a look at selling it. If the numbers line up, we'll take our capital from there, put it into something else that, cash flows or whatnot, and just kind of go from there.
I would imagine then you're always looking at sites,
Yeah.
particularly in the
Yep.
Memphis metro area. That's kind of where
Yes.
the focus is.
So we're outside of the Memphis metro area.
Okay.
I've been in the Memphis metro area for about 20 years, and I mean, our city's kind of going through it right now. I mean, I think we broke the record for most homicides last year, and it's a tough spot right now for the city. And hopefully we come out of it. We've got a new mayor, new administration, and whatnot. And wish them the best. Hopefully we come out of it, a little better, and the city can kind of shift. Right now is a lot of people say it's like we're at the crossroads of Detroit or Atlanta. Like, we're going one way. Either it's going to go this way, going to go south, or it's going to boom. We've got FedEx is a very heavy influence. They're headquartered there, and if we can keep them and kind of build another corporate presence there, grow a corporate presence, I think it'll help the economy tremendously. But yeah, we develop mostly outside in the suburbs and stuff like that. So
Suburbs they're within the metro area, correct?
Yeah,
so
correct,
you're
yeah.
Okay, got it. So in the Memphis region.
yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was getting at, because my
Yeah.
understanding, I don't know a lot about Memphis,
Sure.
but I've heard of Germantown being very nice. So
Yeah.
I would imagine there's a lot of nice suburbs, kind of
Yeah.
similar to St. Louis.
Yep.
So the focus really is suburban Memphis, let's call it. When you're looking at a site, how do you look at a site from, step 1 to step 10? Are you calling brokers, or brokers bringing deals to you? And if they are, what are you doing to determine whether it's a fit for you or not?
Yeah, we do actually get a lot of sites from brokers, and I typically like to say that if a broker is sending you a site, there's probably something wrong with that site. Like that site should have been bought up by somebody that saw it, a long time ago or something like that. Or it's priced not correctly, and that's probably why they're shopping it around to everybody, right? But yeah, we get deals all the time from brokers, but the majority of our deals come from just us driving and finding and seeing sites and calling people and saying, hey,
Okay.
what do you want to do here? And whatnot. One of our most profitable project till this date it's a project that we call Metro Crossing. It's at a Hacks Cross Road and State Line Road in Olive Branch. And yeah, that site used to be an industrial warehouse, an old industrial warehouse, but the location was right at Main and Main. The tenant had a lease there, and the guy who had it, before me, looked at all avenues to redevelop it. He just couldn't get the numbers to work out because he wasn't a gas station guy. So, I approached them and I said, let me purchase a site from you. And they did, and they were like, look, there's a lease here. And, they might want to move, they might not, we don't know, and blah, blah, blah. I said, don't worry, I'll figure it out. And I threw a number out there. I threw some attractive terms out there for the guy, and quick close, and he took it. So, and he was like, okay, I'm good. And I actually bought that site. My dad was in India. And so he didn't know, that I purchased it. And he came back and he was like, why are our capital accounts looking a little low? And I was like, by the way, I did this. So he was like, what? Again, same thing like that other site, right? Like popped off, blew up on me for like a week, didn't talk to me. And he was like, this might actually be a good site. This might actually turn out to be a good site. So yeah, I was actually able to move that tenant to another site. We've actually built them, because at that site they were paying for exposure. And they were like, we're an environmental waste company. We don't care about exposure. We just need a place to park our dump trucks, And so we were able to move them to a different site that I had purchased, and and we were able to redevelop that site.
So if you're driving down the street, you see a site that you think could make for a good retail center, apartment complex, whatever the case is.
Yep.
What's your first step to find out who owns it? Are you going to county records?
Yeah, we do GIS and all that good stuff, and we'll see if we have a way to contact them. If not, we'll reach out to our brokers and say, hey, can you reach out to this person? So I tend to do that a lot more now, where I tell brokers to call them and whatnot, because number one, sometimes you get cussed out over the phone, So, and I was like, kind of not wanting to do that. So yeah, you go for it. And I'll let them get cussed out, right, for that 6% commission. And then also, typically, if I call somebody, they'll know that it's for a gas station, or if it's for a strip center or something, and that price probably is going to go up, So I had a deal recently where it was a strip center, but the corner was vacant, and it was undeveloped. The strip center was like 50% full. There was a paint store in there, and I called, or I had the broker call about the strip center. I was like, hey, it's 50% vacant. This is a value add situation here. Didn't even think about the corner. And the paint store that was in there is owned by the lady that owned the strip center and the corner. So I was like, man, ask the lady if she wants to sell the strip center. And he said, no, she owns a paint store. She doesn't want to sell it, right? I said, okay. And he said, she will sell the corner, though. I said, all right, well, what does she want for the corner? And he threw a number out there. And it was like $5 a foot or something like that. It was pretty cheap. And I said, okay, cool. Well, let me make a phone call real quick. And I called the city. I asked them, I said, hey, can I build a gas station here? And they were like, man, this is like, we never even thought about putting a gas station here, but it's zoned for it. I was like, that's all I needed to hear from you. So I was like, close the deal. We closed it. And I think it ended up being like $160,000 or something like that. So it wasn't much. And we closed it in like 20 days, 15 days, something like that. I had a guy call me about 2 weeks after that. Not about that corner, about a different retail center that I had. He wanted to put a liquor store in there. And I was like, man, I just signed a lease with somebody else for the liquor store there. Like, sorry. And he was like, man, you got anything else? Do you have anything else? I want to get into something. I got a 1031 some money and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I got this site. And he said, is it ready to go? I was like, yeah, we have plans. Everything is done. The city's good to go. All you got to do is take your plans to a contractor and he'll build it for you. I was like, or I'll build it for you if you want me to. I was like, probably going to be cheaper for you to do it instead of me having to do it and whatnot. And he was like, all right, how much do you want? I threw a number out there, man. And he was like, okay, fine, let's do it. I was like, whoa, okay, I should have asked for more. Right? And so I send the sales contract to my closing attorney. And the paralegal in his office, she was like, hey, there must be a mistake. You got the same reference property that you just purchased like 2 weeks ago on here. And I was like, no, that's the one. And she was like, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you bought this for $166,000, or $167,000 or something like that. And she's like, the sales contract's for $650,000. I was like, hey man, I knew who to call.
The stars aligned.
So it just worked out that way, you know. Sometimes you get lucky like that. And she was like, Donnie, this is awesome. You know, this is incredible. And she's like, congrats. I was like, yeah. And you know, my response to that was I read a quote one time in a newspaper. There was another developer in the Memphis area. He had like 200 acres, 300 acres right on the interstate. And I think he bought it for like $1.5 million or $1.6 million, something like that. And he sold it to IKEA for like $6 million. And it was a great deal, right? But when they interviewed him in the paper, they were like, oh, you made great money, blah, blah. And he just kind of chuckled. He was a very seasoned developer. He just kind of chuckled, and he was like, that deal will pay for all the ones that didn't pay. Yeah.
Great point.
Every time we got kicked in the knees, you know, that one's going to cover those. Those are, you don't hear about those too often, right? But now this one, and that's what I said to her. I was like, that one's going to pay for all the ones that didn't pan out. So, you know, it kind of balances out. Being a developer it's risky. It can be definitely risky, and sometimes we take good risks, and sometimes we do things that we shouldn't have done. So, but it all works out at the end of the day.